Hello, welcome to The Charge. I'm Ben Alexander. I've been excited to get my hands on this for a while. I knew they was going to make this in 2009, but that was just like a concept idea. They originally brought like a demonstrator out to see what they could do as an electric car. This one has just come out in the UK in the last couple of months, and so I've got this today to have a look at. I think it actually just feels like a normal Mini. If you've driven a Cooper S, and one of the new ones, it's just like that, minus all the sound. Probably better because it's electric, it just has more power. It still has the go-kart feeling that you'd associate with a Mini, plus a little bit more than a regular Cooper S, I reckon, because the batteries are so low. So let's have a look on the outside. Bits I like about the outside, I like that it actually just looks like a normal Cooper S, because it's sporty. It's a bit of a sporty car. I'd say it's a sports car, not just a sort of a pottering around car. This is the colour that they have on the sort of the poster car, and those are the wheels that they have on the poster car. The wheels probably nicer in real life than you might imagine, and the colour is just a flat silver, I think, with a bit of pearl in it. So that's kind of not like a super expensive option. It's beautiful, really. You wouldn't really tell that it's electric if you didn't know about electric cars from anything on it. Not even the little pluggy is that obvious, really, unless you're a bit of a car person. I really like this. For me, I really like that. The car does feel really well built. Everything. Like, nothing feels like it's got thin plastic or thin metal. It just feels like it will last, which is really nice. However, BMW and Mini, they're very good at making cars that feel like that, but they don't make it past 10, 15 years old. Like, if you look at the Cooper S, to change a clutch on a Cooper S, you have to basically disassemble the whole front of the car to do that. I think that might make it less economical to repair 10 years down the line if you have to fix something that's kind of quite in there. So I really hope they put a lot of thought into that. It really does look like a normal Mini Cooper S, or Cooper from the back, Cooper S for the rest. They put Cooper S badge on it, so they obviously say it's a Cooper S. I think that's kind of the logo for the electric cars they're going to produce now. This Cooper S has 3 options. They just do 3 straight options, 1, 2, 3. One of them looks really just like a normal car. It doesn't even have the yellow on it. It's just looks like a normal car, no exhaust, and it's a Cooper, but it's electric. This is option 2. It has a 32.6, no idea why they settled on that, 32.6 kilowatt hour battery. So it can do, apparently, realistic 140, 150 miles range. I reckon that's realistic. I reckon any day you could get 120 if you're driving like 70 on a motorway, 75, and you're just pottering around and you're whizzing around everywhere, you'd get 120. But it does have 184 horsepower, so it is fast. Very fast, actually. Unfortunately, I'm sorry to do this, but you're looking at another car with no thermal management on the batteries. So cars are getting, it's an expensive car, and they didn't even put fans in it on the batteries. So we're all right, even though it's 26 degrees today in England, and it'll be 30 tomorrow actually, and 28 day after. It's almost always in an all right temperature for an electric car here. But if you're in Australia or America, you know, in Texas or somewhere like that, or California, batteries, they're just going to cuck. The batteries are going to cuck. They're just left in the heat, and then as you drive, they get even hotter. They're going to be seeing 30, 35 degrees. And as you know, lithium-ion batteries in cars ideally never should go above 25 degrees. So that's a big deal. That was one of the first things I checked when I found that they've actually settled on everything, and that's the car that you can buy. The first thing I checked was the thermal management. It's really sad. If you look at the Audi e-tron, another German manufacturer, they do share technologies. I know it's a more expensive car. Even on the Audi, they've put it's got water cooling on it, I think. This has nothing, no fans or anything. That's really sad, especially if you're in somewhere hot. And I've lived in a hot place, I know what it's like. I can imagine my car being painfully hot, and it wouldn't do me any good to think that my batteries are cooking outside on the drive. So that's a sad thing. This one is £27,000 in the UK, minus £3,000 with the grant from the government, making this £24,000. So I do think you'd pay £24,000 for that car. That's what it would cost you. And £24,000 I think is realistic. I think that's a good price, actually, surprisingly good for a Mini. If you had that money to spend on a car that was electric with this sort of range, I'd probably still go for a Leaf. Even though this is a beautiful car, I don't think I could buy a German car. It feels nice to drive, but from my experience, it's not going to be as well built, and in 10-15 years time there might be an issue that maybe Nissan would have, Nissans wouldn't have. Even though Nissans are not as good as they used to be, that's my concern with this. But I've driven a few Minis, and they are lovely cars. So I wouldn't blame someone for going and driving it and then buying it. I really wouldn't. Let's have a look inside. Inside, I really like it. I really like the gear lever, even though I kind of didn't want to. It kind of looks a bit like a BMW, because of course BMW Mini. But it actually just works. It's really quick. So if you're just doing a 3-point turn in the road, you just press the button at the side, push it forward into reverse, backward into drive. Or you can just press P if you're parking. Everything just feels solid, which is really nice. Everything feels like it will last. I'm pretty sure everything will last for 10 years or more. I'm not sure if everything's going to be tight as a drum in 15 or 20 years, which for me matters when they're making cars and they're charging 24, 26, 7,000 pounds, electric or otherwise. I think they should all make them be able to last 15 or 20 years. But the whole thing, all the buttons, everything is beautiful. I really like the screen here. It's a small, tiny screen, but it just says everything that you need, simply. Down here looks just like any other Mini, but it has a yellow start-stop button. Super simple. It does have, I haven't figured this out yet, a traction control DSC button. It goes up and it goes down. One of them said it turns something to do with it turned off traction control but left dynamic DSC on. It has a sport green button here, and then a button here which I actually don't know what it does. I haven't managed to figure out how to turn on the radio yet, which is ridiculous because I should know how to do that. Oh, the maps come on. You'd imagine when it's on there, it would turn and go left and right. It doesn't. That one doesn't do that. So maybe it's touchscreen. Oh, maybe it's touchscreen. Oh, that would make sense. So to turn it on, you get in, foot on the brake, and then you push that down. That's the start-stop switch. Here is the traction control button. So you have, on one side it does something, on the other side it does something else. I'm not sure. This is the sport button. So if you go up and down on the button here where it says sport and green, it goes down. So that's the very bottom, the greenest mode possible. And as you go up, it goes to sport. On the right hand side here, this is your battery charge level. So I've been driving it for a little while and I've taken 10% off. So actually when you take your foot off the accelerator, it already just uses regen as a brake. So actually just regen is already enough pretty much to stop you to a halt. So it's kind of like the Nissan Leaf one pedal driving option. I know people are likening them to a go-kart, but that's kind of what you feel like when you get in. You get in and you just have a wheel, press on, pull it to drive and go, and there's no sort of wallowy feeling that you might get in an automatic. It's electric, so it kind of really feels like a go-kart. And you drive around and you brake, and it does feel like you're sort of driving a go-kart, really. The seats, I could do many hours in these seats. They're very good, very cozy. They are sporty, they do hold you, but I'm a big guy, I'm 6'1", and they're just lovely. Not too snug at all, just lovely. The whole thing is beautiful. I just really like it. It's a lovely car. How do you do this? Smooth, Ben. Is it at the side? No. Oh, press. It said twice, didn't it? Times 2. Ah, got you. Beautiful.